signage is a key element in all of this, and I noticed it on the newer bike paths, the new Cliff Road, the new section of the Cliff Road bike path, and the to a similar extent, although not quite the same extent, on the Hummock Pond Road bike path. The signage is much better than it has been on the older ones. Is there any plan to upgrade the signage at all on the older bike paths?
Yeah, the state does have a program of usually have to back it up with if there's if it's a crash area where there's been some accidents, use that as justification. But yeah, they're trying to understand where maybe some stop signs should be placed to avoid some bad sight lines. Going through that process, yeah, there's definitely and that's one of the tasks of this Bike Pedestrian Advisory Committee. At least what Ian Golden had wanting to bring to the committee is looking at stop signs and things like this, and trying to improve that, making sure sight lines are there, and that cyclists as well as drivers know where the kind of the troublesome areas are going to be, where it's you just need to be more alert.
Who's responsible for picking the placement and sort of scope of the NERTA stops, the shuttle bus stops? Is that your office, or is that them, or how does it work?
More so the NRTA, but a lot of the stops have been well established since the routes have been implemented.
My pet peeve is the one out in Madigan, where the bus sits there for 10 minutes every half hour, and it blocks both the bike path and the sight line to the people coming on the bike path. They can't see cars coming around the other side of the bus.
Yeah, that's probably something that can be reconfigured over time. I didn't know if it was too much of a problem. But that's probably room for improvement. We could definitely.
I'll deal with this traffic safety committee on that. But it is one of my pet peeves, because I think it's an accident waiting to happen.
Oh, sure.
I've had problems there myself, and I'm sure other people have as well.
Yeah, well, I'm sure if it's an issue, I'm sure the NRT is aware of it, and it's something that can be addressed. Probably with short money. It doesn't sound like it's too big of an issue that couldn't.
Well, the whole issue as it relates to Millie's and the parking and all that kind of thing that goes on out there too.
Oh, sure.
And it's a very convenient place for them because of the turn they make out of Washington Street. Anyway, so I'm not here to go on any more of a rant than that. But anything else that's on your mind as the traffic planner for the town?
Well, we have this in-town bike path project which we'd like to get advertised before this summer. We're excited about this new Bike and Pedestrian Advisory Committee and see where that's going to go. We did work with a group of, I know you had on the show some time ago, the group from Worcester Polytech.
Right.
Here. They helped us out updating our website that's meant to provide information for residents and visitors on ways to walk and ways to bike and use public transportation. So we took a lot of their ideas, and right now we're updating with the help of Remain Nantucket, updating the existing Wheels, Heels, and Pedals.com website, using a lot of the ideas that the students had brought forth, and implement some of those for this upcoming summer, and then maybe sometime down the road do a more refreshed website that just even better than before, and provides more information to the public. Really provide more of maybe a virtual experience for some users.
Are the bicycle shops helpful in providing information to the people who rent bikes on the traffic rules and the do's and don'ts of bicycling?
Yeah, there's usually rules of the road on their bike maps that they use, and they try to give I believe a few minutes of tutorial to somebody who's never been here before to what's the fastest, if you're just looking to take a quick day trip, where to actually go to do that, and go to the beach, maybe go down to Dionis. Make the bicyclists aware of some streets that are a little uncomfortable to bike down. And
Are you going to talk about the market?
Yeah, the Old South Road. Yeah, that's the last topic I'd like to discuss with you is Old South Road and the development of Old South Road. I mean, there is an article up on for town meeting to change the size of allowable buildings to permit either supermarkets or some other kind of, I won't say big box store, but larger store than we have now, which is clearly going to have an impact if it comes to pass out there, if the article passes and the developments proceed. Those are two big ifs, but nonetheless they're going to have an impact if it happens. what are your thoughts about it in terms of what kinds of things might need to be done if that comes to pass?
Yeah. Well, number one, we need to see what was recommended. We need to see what the outcome is from town meeting, what the project proponent ultimately brings forward.
Assume town meeting passed the budget.
Okay.
And assume that the proposal to put a grocery store in and some other large store on the other side of the street is successful. Gets through the planning board and all that stuff. What are the implications of that from a traffic planning standpoint?
Well, I don't want to skip over the planning board review process because that's a big part of as far as mitigating the traffic. So you like to be able to anticipate what the problem areas are going to be and then address those in the review process. So I'm assuming if all this goes through the planning board process and is permitted and constructed, they'll implement a lot of the mitigation measures that we've identified through the review process, and it'll be less of an impact than what you would believe.
The impact is going to be not only in the immediate area where these stores are, but it's going to be an impact along all of Old South Road.
Sure.
It's going to create more traffic, presumably, if this is successful. So what kinds of things would you be looking for in remediating those problems that just seem obvious?
Yeah. Well, we have
at the outset?
we have projects that are identified now at the intersection of Old South Road and Fairgrounds Road. That's a bit of a problem intersection now. We've already evaluated the idea of a roundabout at that intersection. So that's one of the things we would like to see implemented. I'm just speculating that would be an impact of the intersection. We'd like to see something done there at that intersection. You've already mentioned the Milestone Rotary. If there's deemed to be impacts because of a project like that on the Rotary, then we would like to see some fixes at the Rotary as well. But having pedestrian bicycle connections from any project with the existing infrastructure is one of the fundamental steps. We'd also have to look at maybe transit as a possible mitigation measure as well. Whether it's increasing frequency along the route, providing a simple shelter at the stop to make it more of an attractive mode of transportation, maybe some crosswalks to get from bus stops. Right now there's not a lot of crosswalks along these areas. Those will all be incorporated and part of the submission of the proponent, or would be included as part of the review process. It's just requiring little things like that, bus shelters, pedestrian crosswalks, pedestrian interconnections, looking at some of the roadway impacts and congested intersections, so intersections would be more congested than what are existing. We would like to see some kind of improvement of those areas.
What could you do at a place like the intersection of Amelia Drive and Old South Road, short of putting in a rotary, to alleviate some of those problems that occur pretty regularly? Yeah,
right now Amelia is a private road, so one of the first things that would be done is make it a public road if there was more of a solution along the roadway itself with enforcement and whatnot. But interconnecting that traffic and dispersing it through other means, maybe not channeling it onto Old South Road. I'm sure that left-hand turn coming out of Amelia is
brutal.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So maybe there's another option to go back out the other way and come out on Fairgrounds Road, or maybe there's another connections off of Amelia mid-block to other roads to help disperse some of that traffic. Those are really some of the short of providing a roundabout at the intersection. Those are just other solutions.
You raised another interesting subject, this whole question of private roads versus public roads. And, it's come up in the context of maintenance and paving, of people trying to get private roads taken over for public purposes. But you bring up another, I think, very good point about the fact that you may need either cooperation or to convert it to a public road in order to get the kind of traffic measures in place, traffic management measures in place that are desirable. Are there any places other than perhaps Amelia Drive that you feel that being a private road is an obstacle to accomplishing what needs to be done?
Oh, you can probably go down the list of acquisition recommendations from the Roads and Right-of-Way Committee. I think Alan Reinhardt would probably give you their priority, and I think on that list are a lot of the roads down in the Surfside area.
Yeah, but those aren't really as much traffic impacted as maintenance issues, right?
I think the maintenance issue feeds into a traffic issue. Right now, some of those roads just aren't an attractive option because they're in such poor condition. But you can look at like a Millbrook Road, a handful of other areas that just allow improvements to take place that would make it a better option and alleviate some problems on some other areas. But the Roads and Right-of-Way Committee has a prioritized list that they recommend to the county commissioners and the board of selectmen, and whether those get implemented or not kind of fall on budgets and the priority of those boards. So
Mike Burns, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
We'll keep after you. We'll get you back and see what progress we've made.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.